Pretend we
We're
know
doing
nothing.
we're doing a study.
We know nothing about it, no context at all.
So we're doing a study to investigate subconcussive impacts from contact sports in adolescents. So we're taking brain waves from these players and we're going to analyze them to see the difference between a baseline scan, so before they play their contact sport, and 3 months into their sport, so at the end of the term.
We're looking at how subconcussive impacts can change their brain over time, and how and we're doing that by determining if there's a difference between people who aren't exposed to subconcussive impacts, and then comparing those to people who are, because they're in a contact sport.
Yeah, and we can see it from the brain waves, so from the amplitude and the latency of the waves, we're going to analyze it and see how their brains are impacted.
And from a scan, we can get a certain set of metrics, and then we use those metrics to then determine a score, essentially, for their brain functionality.
Action.
Do you want to go?
Okay, so some applications of this device is that we can track recovery time for a person who has suffered a concussion, so we can know when they can return to school, when they can return to play, because this quantitative data can show us where they're at.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we hope that the results of our research are able to better inform sports programs worldwide, in the sense that they'll be able to refine and improve their prevention methods for preventing an accumulation of subconcussive impacts and the damage associated with those, and then also using potentially other ways to evaluate whether the head impacts are damaging to adolescents, and so that we prevent further damage.
Hold on, let's actually capture.
So the subject is going to listen to a recording, and it's going to consist of word pairs, and they might sound, how do you say it, like they might relate to each other, so like bread and butter, but they can also not relate to each other, like bread and window. So the subject's brain is going to recognize the differences, and it's going to send signals to other areas of the brain, and then this is how we can detect that their attention and their cognitive abilities are working.
Yeah, and so the word pairs match or they don't match. And then in addition to the word pairs, there's also a series of tones, like beep, beep,
Like a higher
mixed
tone.
in. And then there'll be like a normal set of tones. And then occasionally there'll be an irregular tone. And we're also looking at that to see how the brain reacts to unexpected words and tones. So like when the word pair matches, that's what the person expects, even if it's subconsciously. And when the word pair doesn't match, then we're looking at how do they react to that, and how fast is their response, and how big is their response in terms of the electrical signals traveling through their brain.
So, your answer, guys.
Wait, start from the front.
Answer should include
Okay.
Here's a little.
experiments
Is it messed up?
Nope. I think it's good.
that have been done. You'll probably see this in your textbook. So here's the long night. Here's the day. And then they'll put like a little break into darkness. And they'll do a similar kind of thing.
I think you might want to go and get this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah,
this is
so
the
it'll
connection.
go
So if the
in a
gel is
few,
contacting his head properly, then
that are in the cap.
the resistance
So
will
that's
go down and it will
electrodes
go into
to
the green
connect to your
zone.
scalp.
And that's when we know that everything is connected properly and we can start the scan. But now, so everything is in its maximum resistance.
Of all this darkness. So those kinds of experiments. Then 5 phytochrome. Let's see how this works. Okay? Phytochrome, and there's a little happening. You graft it to another.
They're all yellow, but this is like
time.
barely yellow.
If another packet flow is happening, it will trigger off flow.
You can.
Okay.
You can pull it out and look at it to see, because it's like a weird shape.
Can't think of it.
This is the only
And
study
this is also just a
that I'm
snapshot
aware of in my
of
tenure
a few metrics right
where
now.
there's even
But
the
we actually have
possibility
much more
of
data than
something
just this.
published.
This is just like a quick report. And so
Yeah.
we'll actually rely on the other data that we have when we do
I
a
think it's
more
a first
in-depth
first.
analysis.
I'm sure it's not a first.
How fast I'm reacting.
Yeah, this is how fast you're reacting.
It's
It's
how
normally.
wide the
The
wave
science
is.
community would
Really?
accept as being.
Yeah, like
The
how
latency
wide
is
this
when,
is.
like, which millisecond it's on, the peak of the wave. And it normally
Yeah.
happens in, like, average is like at 300 milliseconds, but yours is at 270, so